Hey guys, I'm Adam and you're watching Homegrown. Today we've got a special episode for you. We're going to be installing a trellis system in our garden. So in some of my earlier videos you probably saw me build a raised bed garden. So today we're going to be doing a trellis system for it, and it's kind of this little interesting trellis that I've kind of dreamt up, that something kind of unique that I haven't seen before. So hopefully that gives you guys some ideas on how you guys could be trellising some of your plants in your garden. So, I want to talk to you guys about the importance of trellising. I have a small raised bed gardens, and if you're gardening any similar to how I am, space is extremely valuable to you. So I want to encourage you guys to grow vertically whenever you can. So some of your plants, like maybe your squashes, your cucumbers, your tomatoes, for sure you want to be single stemming them and growing them straight up so they don't sprawl out and take up all your valuable square footage on the ground. So we've just kind of got some of our components laid out here that we're going to be using today. So we've got our drills, some wire tensioning stuff. We've got our cable that we're going to be stringing up from end to end, and then we've got our trellis netting that we're going to be using with 6.5-inch squares. And this stuff's really great. It's durable. I actually sourced this from a local manufacturer that I didn't even know existed, but they were right in my backyard, and they make this stuff here locally. We've also got these 4x4 pressure treated pieces of wood, and these aren't actually going to be going inside my garden, so I've sprung for the pressure treated because they will last longer and they are going to be in the ground, and it's not actually going to be directly in my garden, so I don't have to worry about any chemicals leaching or anything like that. And then lastly, I've got these brackets that I made up. It's just some simple C-channel that I cut down. I actually just drilled holes in and just quickly spray painted black, and this is going to be our bracket at each end of our trellis, and it's going to kind of string our cable from end to end. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to talk to you guys maybe about some other trellis options that you guys do have. So everyone's probably seen these before. These are just the standard tomato cages. These are like really light duty ones. I wouldn't even recommend getting these. I've got a few laying around that I've purchased from years and years ago, but I don't even use them anymore. They definitely don't do the job for your tomatoes. If you're growing big healthy tomatoes, your tomatoes will bust out of these things no problem. So I wouldn't recommend even buying these, to be honest. And then we've got some of this like really cheap little fencing. I like to use these, actually I still use these for some of my peas or even some of my bean plants. If they get big and they start flopping over, I can kind of stake these up between them. So that's kind of one option for maybe some of the smaller plants that you're doing. And then I want to show you this. This is kind of the trellis system that I've been using for a few years now, and it does the job. It's all right. It's basically just some wire remesh that you can get at like any hardware store, and it's just mesh that they put in concrete floors to kind of keep the floor strong. But basically all I was doing I was just propping this up with some sticks or some T-bar posts or something like that, and encouraging my plants to grow up and connecting them with zip or twist ties or anything like that. A few issues with this that I don't really like is it's pretty bulky. It becomes a storage issue eventually once you have so much of this trellis stuff laying around. It's taking up a lot of valuable space in my shed. Also, it's kind of ugly. It gets all rusty. No matter what, you're going to get some rusty stuff unless you want to spend some really good money on some sort of grid trellis. And this section over here is actually a section I made. I had a coworker whose husband works at a factory and actually gave a bunch of this wire mesh away, so I just kind of welded this all together, and it's a total pain. So I think the system we're going to be installing today is going to be pretty unique. You guys are hopefully get some ideas for what you guys can be growing and how you guys can be utilizing trellises in your garden. And let's get into the project, and let's show you guys what this trellis is going to look like. So we're down here at the end of all the raised beds here, and this is where we're going to be installing our main post. So we're installing one of these 4x4s on each end of all my raised beds. So we've dug a hole down here about 1.5 feet or so. I would suggest go as deep as you can if you're installing some poles that are going to be supporting stuff. And we're just going to put our 4x4 in here, and then we're just going to level it all up, make sure it's all plumb, and then we're just going to connect it to our raised bed here so we can get a little bit of strength out of this, so it's going to be strong enough to support any weight that's on it. Alright, so we're getting close to wrapping up our trellis system here. I just want to kind of explain the system that I've kind of thought up and give you guys some ideas and maybe how you can maybe emulate this or do something on your own. So we have our 4x4 pressure treated posts that we dug into the ground, fastened to our raised bed, and we've got one on the complete other side of our garden as well, across 3 other beds. We've got this bracket here that I made. Again, it's just a little piece of C-channel I drilled some holes in it to mount it right to the 4x4, and I've got 4 separate holes drilled into it. My beds are 4 feet wide, so I kind of like to grow in rows. So I've got row 1, 2, 3, and 4. This enables me to kind of move my trellis system from year to year, or if one garden I want to dedicate to have multiple trellises, I can do that. So I can just kind of pull these bolts out and move it over here. Next we've got this turnbuckle here, which actually just gives me a bit of fine tuning. I can turn it and tighten this whole cable that's strung up here, and then we've just got it kind of saddled here and bolted down. So probably throughout the year, once this gets a bit of tension on this cable, and I've got some plants kind of growing up the trellis, this is probably going to sag a little bit, so I can come out here and kind of tweak this a little bit and kind of turn it and tighten it up, snug it up a little bit more. So going down the trellis system, I'll show you kind of a couple of the other components. We've got up here, this is kind of just a wire fence tightener, and this is kind of our main tightener for the whole system. We've got it just a saddle here in the end and cranked up, and we just cranked it as tight as we can get it, and then we use our turnbuckles that I have on each end to kind of get that fine tune and get it real nice and snug. So that's kind of our main system that holds the whole cable together. And this again is just strung across all 3 of the beds. So I've got one cable going over top of all my beds, so I can have a trellis in this row on all beds if I want to. So we're coming to our middle bed here where we actually have the trellis set up. What I did, we put up some 2x4s on each end to kind of prevent this cable from getting any sag in it. And I might have to, maybe put 1 or 2 more in here or there once this gets some weight on it through the season. We'll see how it kind of works. So we've just got our 2x4s here, our cable on top just to kind of keep our cable from sagging. And then we got our netting hooked up. We've got just some zip ties that we use at the top on every other square, strung up through the cable. And I've just got it strung down, and we're using just like some of these shepherd hooks that I made myself. These are a little bit longer. They get a little bit of an anchor in there. And then you can see that we've got our whole trellis system set up here, so we've got a lot of space for growing vertically. We can grow our squashes up this, tomatoes, lots of other plants too. So lots of extra square footage where we don't have a lot on the ground. We can grow vertically and take up the space up top. So that's the trellis system that I kind of came up with. Hopefully this gives you guys some ideas on what you guys can do for your trellis system. And again, I want to encourage you guys to grow vertically. So hopefully this just gives you guys some ideas to do that. So again, I'm Adam with Homegrown, and stay green.